I
Because,
think it's
yes,
uh,
because that's the one I used to.
to
I click now
log in now.
yes, to log in now.
Okay, so it's the same one, yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So you're live now. You're streaming live.
Okay. 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 Thank you. I'll share the link with the class.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, Prof. And bye.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. Hello, Miriam. Good afternoon. So I shared the link with you now. It's the same link that we used last week. So I shared it again with you so that people can use it to log on. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Yes. Miriam, it's the same link that we used last week. I shared it with you. I can see that you have joined, so we are waiting for the others. Okay, thank you. Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the class of 106. I thought of just giving us a little time to enable people to join. As of now, we have 63 people who have joined. Maybe we'll just carry a little so that more of our participants can join before we start formally. It is good that people who have joined, some of us who have joined are already logging in our names in the chat section. So please, let's just do that while we are waiting for the others to join. I think in another 2 minutes or so, now we have 135 people who have joined. In a minute or two, we'll be able to start. Okay, perhaps at this point, we can just start gently and move on while the others join us. Can we do a quick recap of what we discussed in the class last week? Is there anyone who can remind us about what we did last week? A summary of our class meeting last week. What did we discuss? Hello, can you hear me? Can someone remind us of what we discussed last week, a summary of what we did last week?
About John, where Anthony Day? Where Anthony Day?
Sociological theory.
Yes. Oh, God. Anything back. If only side bag. I'm using physically, we're still wasting the time. I said this is extra. I cannot hear anything.
Maybe he has missed mic or something.
Are you actually sure it's extra?
Yes, now the man asked that what was our last one?
You say what them go to me God heritage. What kind of girl are you?
No, for him, some of them is going to be confused.
I'm not even joking. Like, see,
It's working.
see, what to me God heritage? That's the one. Ah, okay.
Sorry, my network tripped off, but we are back on. Okay, Dada Success, I can see your hand up. Hello, Dada Success.
Yes, Minister.
Yes, good afternoon.
Talk about the contribution of the founding fathers last week, and we talked about like the fathers, August Comte, like you mentioned that is a positivist, and it's also an evolutionalist, and he also
Yes,
divided
August Comte,
sociology into social practice and social
Emil
dynamics.
Durkheim,
Yes, sir. And Emma Johnson,
Max
yes,
Weber,
Kamat,
Karl Marx.
Weber.
Okay. So, and then I think we also started with discussion of the classical theories. Did we?
No, sir.
Okay, we just finished with the classical, the founding fathers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's proceed today by looking at sociological theories. The classical just in a summary sense, we'll say the classical sociological theories can be viewed as tools for understanding contemporary society, tools for understanding our human society. Classical sociological theories, essentially because they represent the earlier set of theories, but with the same general goal of understanding the human society. And they look at various aspects of human society to explain how the society functions, why there is social order, why there is social change, how social change occurs in the society, the relationship between various groups in the society, and the position and role of the individual in the society.
Hello, sir.
Before going further in this regard, I want us to quickly look at levels of theoretical explanation, and we can identify two
Morning, sir.
main levels. Hello?
Morning, sir.
Yes, good afternoon. Is that Adebayo and
Sir, please, sir,
Samad?
some of us are in the waiting room.
Oh,
Yes, sir, we're in
sorry.
the waiting room, sir.
Okay, we'll admit.
Si vous m'entendez again.
Please. Hey, did you open the
I'm trying to see how we can admit. It's not showing the signal for admitting people again. Hello, it seems Adebimpe Rashidat has been listed as the host. Adebimpe Rashidat, can you change the host to me, please, so that we can admit people? Adebimpe Rashidat, are you with us? Hello, who is Adebimpe Rashidat?
Hello, sir.
Yes, it seems you have the hosting, you are listed as the host now. Can you change that to the host to me?
Okay, sir.
Adebimpe Rashidat, can you help us with that? While we are waiting for that to be done, Adebinkwe Rashidat, please help us to do that. While we are waiting for that to be done, I want us to look at two levels of theoretical explanation. The society can be analyzed from two broad perspectives. One is the macro level of theoretical explanation.
Hello, sir.
Yes, hello.
I don't know how to return the oath to you. I'll mute myself now.
Okay, can you as the host, can you admit the people waiting in the...
I've admitted them.
Okay, let's just see how we can proceed. Okay. Okay, so two levels of theoretical explanation. The macro level.
Yeah, I've admitted them.
Yes, okay, that's fine. Adebinkwe Rashidat, thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. We'll continue. Two levels of analysis, macro level and the micro level. The macro level of theoretical explanation and the micro level. The macro, M-A-C-R-O, the macro level analyzes the society from the perspective of the larger unit. Looking at the social structures and institutions, looking at groups, organizations that comprise the society. The position of the macro level analysis is that for us to understand the society and the behavior of people in the society, we have to look at the macro level, the groups that comprise the society. We have to look at social structures and institutions, the values of the society, the culture of the society. If we understand the culture and values of the society, if we understand the social structures and institutions that make up the society, then we can understand the behavior of individuals in the society. On the assumption that the social structures and institutions have strong influence on the behavior of people. People behave in the way that the society wants them to behave. The social structures want them to behave. On the other hand,
you have to choose.
On the other hand, the micro level contends that we can study and understand the human society from the perspective of individual members of the society.
I cannot hear you.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello,
sir.
Sorry, we are having these challenges. When did you lose my audio?
You're talking about studying inside the individual.
Okay, so we said we can look at two levels of theoretical explanation, two broad levels of theoretical explanation. The macro level, M-A-C-R-O, and the micro level. The macro level looks at the society from the perspective of the larger group. Looking at studying the society from the perspective of the social structures and institutions that make up the society. The idea is that for us to understand the society, we need to look at the groups that comprise the society, the culture of the society, the values of the society, the rules, the norms of the society. If we understand all those larger issues, then we can understand the behavior of individuals in the society. The micro level, on the other hand, contends that for us to understand the society, we have to understand, study the society from the perspective of the smaller units, the individual units, looking at the individual perceptions of the society, perceptions and interpretations of things in the society. If we were to apply this to the Nigerian society, there may be a question we may ask is, where do we situate the problem of the Nigerian society? The problem of the Nigerian society, is it at the macro level or at the micro level? The problem of the Nigerian society, is it with the social structures, the constitution, the religious values, and so on that we have? Or is the problem of the Nigerian society with individuals that make up the society? Is the problem with groups, or is the problem with individuals? The problem, is it with the laws of the society, or the problem is with the individuals that make up the society? Some people will argue that our problem is not religion. The problem is not the constitution. The problem is not the polity. The problem is not with the laws. The laws are there. We have enough laws to regulate human behavior. So some people will argue that it is the individuals that are the problems of the society. It is individuals that violate the law. It is individuals that do not abide with the laws and guidelines that have been established for the society. That is the micro level. On the other hand, some people will argue that the problem is not with the individuals. The individual will do things in the correct way once they are properly regulated by the society. Once the family functions properly, once the religious organizations function well, once the laws operate well and they are enforced, then individuals will abide by the rules and regulations of the society and do whatever is expected of them. So that is the macro level. So from our perspectives, where will we situate the problem of the Nigerian society? Is the problem with the individuals, or is the problem with the social structure and institutions? What do we think?
Sir, the social structure.
Okay, if we will change the Nigerian society, is it the individuals that we need to work on to change, or is it the social structures, the cultures, the values, the laws, the constitution, and so on that we need to change?
So I think it's the social structure. Because if the social structure is good, the individuals will act accordingly.
Okay.
Nah.
So Emmanuel Gbolahan believes that is the social structure. So that is adopting a macro level explanation. Well, there's no right or wrong answer. It depends on how we look at it. So we may be able if you think the problem is with the larger groups, the social structures and institutions, and not individuals, then to be able to explain it. Now, okay, let's go on to the classical sociological theories. As we said last week, we'll be discussing three major ones. In particular, then we may talk very briefly about some of the other ones as we progress. The three major ones, the functionalist theory. Sorry, is there a problem with the audio?
No, sir. No, sir.
Oh, okay, because I thought maybe somebody said she was not hearing what we were saying. So three main ones, the functionalist theory, which we may also describe as we proceed as functionalism. The functionalist theory of functionalism. The second one, the conflict theory. The third one, symbolic interactionist theory or symbolic interactionism. Let's start with the functionalist theory. The functionalist theory looks at the society as a social system that comprises various interdependent parts. A social system that comprises various interdependent parts. With the parts working together for the survival, for the good, for the continuity of the social system, of the society. The various parts work together to ensure stability and social
But we can't hear you.
Sorry, part of the challenges of technology, my network tripped off. But it's back on. By function, we mean the contribution of each unit to the social system, what each unit contributes or works or does to ensure the continuity of the social system or the society. Talking about the society being a complex whole, which comprises interdependent units, the social structures, the interdependent units will include the various subunits of the society or groups of the society, such as the family, education, religion, the polity, the security system, the media, and so on. So these are various units of the society. From the functionalist perspective, each unit performs some functions. Each unit contributes to the survival or good working of the larger system, of the whole, of the society. With the family performing its own function, the religious institution performing its own function, the economy performing its own function. And this is the way the society continues to survive. From the functionalist perspective, every unit of the society is important, such that if one unit fails in the performance of its assigned duties or functions, it will have a negative impact on the good of the society. And as we said, the founding fathers who believe that the society can be likened to an organism, such as a human body, for instance, will just say that as the human body comprises various parts of the body, the brain, the heart, the kidney, the legs, the eyes, the nose, and every other organ that we may think of in the human body, with each organ performing functions for the human body, so that if one organ is deficient, it's likely to affect the health and well-being of the individual concerned. So the same thing we say for the society. The various units perform various functions. A major position of the functionalist theory is the emphasis on stability and order. The functionalists are of the view that the normal state of the society is one of peace and order, is one of stability. So the society is often seen as being in a state of order. Chaos or disorder in the society is seen as an aberration. The functionalist theorists believe that there is always a tendency towards the maintenance of social order. They recognize that there could be changes in the society, but whenever there is a change, there is always a tendency towards equilibrium. There could be temporary destabilization in the society when something changes suddenly. But as soon as that happens, the mechanisms, the social structures and institutions of the society work together to ensure the restoration of order and stability in the society. So they look at it as a point of equilibrium where peace and order exists. So when anything happens to disturb the equilibrium, the society works together to ensure the restoration of the state of equilibrium, this stability and order in the society. So that is the main ideas of the functionalist theories. So we may just look at the various structures and institutions of the society and think of the functions that they perform. The family, for instance, what function does the family perform for the continuity of the society? The government or the polity, what function does the government perform for the continuity of the society? Religious organizations, what functions do they perform to ensure the continuity and stability of the society? The economy, what does it contribute to the survival and continuity of the society? So can we just quickly look at this with illustrations from our participants? What functions does the family as an institution perform for the society? How does the family contribute to the survival of the society?
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, for me, I feel like the family contributes continuity. Like It ensures that the generation and people are brought to life, continuity of people, and it's helped to mold the younger generation into liable individuals in order to help the community progress.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. So in a way, we can say the
The
family, yes,
ensures
hello,
socialization of people.
ensures the,
Ensures socialization of the children. Family ensures
yes, socialization
socialization
of
of children.
the individuals, the members of the society. The family, one performs the reproductive function largely to ensure the replacement of members of the society that have died, so that we continue to have people in the society through the family mainly. The family also performs a socialization function, inculcating the norms and values of the society in the individual members, especially in the younger ones. Okay, what are the functions of religion, the religious institutions? What does the religious institution contribute to the continuity of the society? Can anybody help us?
Sir,
Yes.
okay. For me, I feel like the religion helps us to like build the society in a moral way to enhance our spiritual connection in order to grow spiritually and morally in order to help our society grow as well.
Yes, okay. The religious institution
Okay.
helps to
Religious
instill,
institutions help to enhance our spiritual connection and oneness society.
yes, okay, thank you. The religious institution instills moral values in various ways in members of the society. It also helps to ensure that members of the society live in peace with one another in line with the injunction of the overall spiritual being, that is God, wanting people to live together in peace and harmony, and emphasizing the values that are conducive for the continuation of the society. What are the functions of the government, the polity for the society? What functions does the government perform for the survival and continuity of the society? James, I can see your hand up.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Okay, so one of the functions the government performs, one of the responsibilities of the government to society is maintaining law and order. That is enforcing laws to protect citizens from crime and maintaining peace.
Okay. Maintaining law and order.
One of the functions of government is to maintain society, maintain society in place of people.
Okay, thank you, Angel. Thank you. Now, what are the functions of the economy? What are the functions of the economy? Moshida Abubakar, I can see your hand up. Okay, is Bethel addressing us?
The economy helps by providing for the needs, like making sure people have food, clothes, or houses. They also create jobs so people can work to earn money to take care of themselves and family. They also help by supporting other institutions like schools, hospitals, churches, and so on.
Yes, okay. So the economy performs the function of creation of employment opportunities for members of the society and provision of the wherewithal for people to survive, to earn a living, to make a living in the society. So these are the various functions. Now let's go on a bit more. Talking about functions. An American sociologist, Robert Martin, identified two classes of functions, two types of functions. What he called the manifest function
Sorry, sir.
Hello?
Sir, please can you go over the name again? Thank you.
Yeah, Robert Martin.
Thank you, sir.
Robert Martin. I'm trying to open a document which will enable us to
Yes.
sorry, just a minute, trying to open a document for us to share. So Edwin, can you see my screen with Robert Martin?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just for correct spelling of the name, Robert Martin. He talked about two types of functions. Manifest and latent functions. He talked about two types of functions, manifest and latent functions. Manifest function is the type of function that is intended. The type of function that is known. The type of function that seems clear and obvious to people. while latent function refers to the unintended consequences or effects that are not planned or that are not obvious to people.
So please, can you come again with the definition?
Manifest functions are the functions that are obvious to people, that are clear to people, that are intended, that are planned. While latent functions are the functions that may not be intended, that may not be obvious to people, that may not be planned to occur. The functions that may be hidden. Robert Martin also distinguished between functions and dysfunctions. Distinguish between functions and dysfunctions. The idea here is that a structure or institution or activity could be functional, could have some functions, but at the same time, it is possible for the same activity or institution to be dysfunctional. By dysfunctional in this regard, we mean having negative effects. So while a structure could have functions, that is positive effects, positive functions for the society, it is also possible for the same institution to be dysfunctional. That is, to have undesirable or negative effects on the society. We may think of various illustrations. Let's take religion, for instance, as a social institution. People have mentioned the functions of religion for the society, which is very correct. Helping to instill moral order in the society, ensuring that people do the right things, they inculcate the right values in members of the religious group. So that way we can say this can be said to be the functions, positive functions of religion, ensuring peace, order, and unity among the people. Members of the religious group will be united together as one group, believing in the same value, believing in the same goals and objectives. But at the same time, religion could also be dysfunctional. In other words, the religion could have negative consequences for the society. And I'm sure we can think of illustrations in which the religion could be dysfunctional for the society, could have negative consequences on the society. While religion could be a unifying factor, a unifying force in the society, the same religion could also be a disintegrating or divisive factor in the society. So as we've often witnessed in the Nigerian society, conflict between one religious group and another religious group. So that can be used to illustrate the dysfunctions of religion. We can talk about religious fundamentalism among the members and the implications of this for social disunity. So these are the ideas about functions and dysfunctions as explained by Robert Martin. So this is the functionalism. A major criticism of the functionalism of the functionalist theory is that it places too much emphasis on social order, social cohesion, while ignoring the factors or forces that may make for disunity in the society. It ignores or overlooks the disruptive factors in the society, placing more emphasis on unity, consensus, focusing on order and stability in the society. So a question for us: what is our perception of the Nigerian society? Is the Nigerian society characterized more by unity than division? Is the Nigerian society characterized more by consensus than by conflict? For the functionalists, the answer will be that the Nigerian society is characterized more by unity, more by consensus. So oftentimes for people, we hear people talking about unity in diversity, that despite the various, the differences in the groups that people belong to, differences in ethnic groups, differences in religious groups, differences in cultural groups, and so on, that we still have unity in diversity, that it is the unity in diversity that sums up the strength of the Nigerian society. Though we are different, we are still united in terms of goals and orientation. So that is one perspective to look at the Nigerian society. And people will say, despite all the challenges, the society still comes together. Members of the society close their ranks and unite for the survival, for the continuity of the Nigerian society. So that is the emphasis on consensus. That is the emphasis on social order, and that is the perspective of the functionalist theory. Let's go on to another theoretical perspective. Tamilore Ajayi, I can see your hand up.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Sir, can you come again on the criticism of the functionalist theory?
Criticism that the functionalist theory focuses more attention on order and stability while ignoring the factors that could make for instability, while ignoring or overlooking the factors that create conflict in the society. So some other groups, theoretical schools, will consider the functionalist school to be to be simplifying the society too much, saying the society is united, when in actual fact there are various illustrations of disunity in the society. Okay, so let's move on to another theoretical. Yes, okay, thank you. Let's move on to another theoretical school, the conflict theory. Sorry, perhaps before we move on, let's quickly mention some of the major functionalist theories. People such as Auguste Comte, Emile Durkheim, Robert Martin, and another American sociologist, Talcott Parsons. Examples of functionalist theories. Functionalism, we said, was very popular. Was a very popular theoretical perspective up to about the 1960s. But from the 1960s, the popularity of functionalist theory declined with the emergence or the rise of the conflict perspective. A major proponent of the conflict perspective is Karl Marx. The conflict theory argues that, contrary to the position of the functionalists, the society is characterized more by conflict than consensus. More by conflict than unity. This is because, according to the conflict theories, the society comprises various groups. the society comprises various groups and individuals who, more often than not, have conflicting interests. The interests of members of the society are usually not the same. Different groups have different interests, and the different interests are often in conflict, in the sense that when one group achieves its goal, it is usually at the detriment of another group. So there can never be unity or harmony. When that happens, the other group is always looking at how it will recover its loss and displace the other group. From a simple perspective, we can look at things from the political system that we have. The political system in Nigeria comprises various political parties, and the interests of the parties are obviously not the same. They have different interests, with various parties trying to unseat and upend the other party. So for the conflict theorists, the society is characterized more by conflict than consensus. The conflict theorists are of the view that there are always forces in the society which push the society towards change. Unlike the functionalist theory, which emphasizes stability and order, the conflict theory emphasizes change. From this perspective, we can say that change is a normal aspect of the society, while the functionalists argue that consensus, order, stability is the normal state of the society.
I was angry when he was giving it. Let me just put it like that.
Hello, can you please mute yourself if you are not addressing us? While the functionalists argue that order, stability, consensus are the main features of the society, the conflict theorists argue that conflict is a major feature of the society. Looking at conflict theory from the perspective of Karl Marx, who we described as a major proponent, perhaps the most prominent conflict theorist, he recognized two classes of people in the society. The bourgeoisie and the proletariat. The bourgeoisie and the proletariat. In simple terms, the rich and the poor. So the society can be said to comprise the rich and the poor. And of course, we know that the interests of the rich and the poor are not the same. The bourgeoisie or the capitalists, the people who own the capital. Are always wanting to exploit the proletariat. So the capitalists, the employers are always wanting to exploit the situation of the workers. So that is the basis for the conflict. They have conflicting interests, and in the Marxist perspective, the conflict between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat will continue until capitalism as a system is overthrown by the workers and a socialist state is created. From the conflict perspective, we can say that change is a normal aspect of the society. The society is always in a state of dynamics. Always in a state of change, not static. Change is seen as normal and inevitable. So that is the view of the conflict theorists. To explain the conflict in the society, the conflict theory looks at various issues, including power, looking at the power structures in the society. So different groups fighting for power, political power, economic power, and so on in the society. Looks at issues about class differences, looks at issues about inequality. And class struggle, the struggle between the two classes. We can also talk about conflicts between the rulers and the ruled. Conflict between the government and the governed. So, and we've seen this, we can think of illustrations from our contemporary Nigerian society, conflict between the government and the people. The End Bad Governance protest, for instance, clearly illustrating that the governed and the government have different positions, different interests. So that is an illustration of conflict. We can think more about this as we move on. A third theoretical perspective is the symbolic interactionist perspective. The symbolic interactionist perspective emphasizes studying and understanding the society from the viewpoint of individuals. A major proponent is George Mead. Symbolic interactionism suggests that people interact on the basis of symbols. That people assign meanings to symbols. And it is the meanings that people assign to symbols that influence their understanding, their perception of social events and situations. A symbol can be simply described as something that represents another thing, something that is used to represent another thing. According to George Mead, human beings interact on the basis of shared symbols, shared meanings, shared understandings in their interaction with one another. So symbols play a major role in social interaction. And that virtually all human interactions involve an exchange of symbols. Smiling, for instance, a smile could be described as a symbol which has meanings for people. And it is on the basis of the meanings that the people attach to the symbols that people interact. When you smile at me, that can be interpreted as a positive, friendly sign. And I can respond to you on the basis of that friendly gesture, based on common or shared interpretation and meanings of symbols and gestures. A smile in this regard can be said to be a symbol of what the person feels. On the other hand, a frown will have meanings and will be interpreted in a different way, and people will respond to other people according to the meanings that they attach to this visual facial expressions or symbols that they see. Symbolic interactionism places emphasis on face-to-face interaction. In looking at the social actions of individuals. A major criticism of the symbolic interactionist perspective is that it places too much emphasis on individual action. Places too much emphasis on individual actions while ignoring larger issues. While ignoring larger issues of power and structure within the society. For instance, the functionalists will see the individual as being subject to the will of the society, to the will of the group. So the functionalists will argue that we don't need to bother so much about individuals, but focus more on the shared values, the culture that they have, that the individual is subject to the will of the society. The individual is controlled more by the shared values and norms of the society. So we should not focus too much attention on the individual as the symbolic interactionists who want us to do. So the functionalists focus on the shared values. So these are the three main theories, the classical theories. There are several various other theories that we said exist, but you can look at them later on as we progress with the course. Perhaps another major theory I want us to look at today is the evolutionary theory.
Not cropped up, relax. It's not cropped up, it's mesh.
Evolutionary theory.
Where's my mesh now?
The evolutionary theory. Hello, please, can you mute yourselves, please? Can you mute yourselves, please? Evolutionary theory is based on the view that the society is always in a state of evolution, always changing. The society evolves. The society evolves, always changing. That there is usually a change from one stage or level of development to another level of development. For instance, that societies change from simple societies to complex societies. Change from rural to urban society. Many evolutionary theorists believe in unilinear evolution. Unilinear evolution in the sense that evolution is considered to be a one-way direction. Evolution in this regard is seen as progressive. Development. So the society can be said to change from a lower level to a higher level. Evolutionary theories see social change as positive or beneficial. Some of the popular evolutionary theories include scholars such as Emil Durkheim, who talked about two types of solidarity: mechanical solidarity and organic solidarity. We discussed that last week. Societies characterized by mechanical solidarity being illustrated with the simple societies, the rural societies, the small societies, the earlier societies, while organic solidarity can be illustrated with more complex societies, the urban society, modern society, in which solidarity is now based on the interdependence of members of the society. Other scholars, other evolutionary theories include Auguste Comte. Remember, we talked about the three laws that Auguste Comte mentioned. Then another scholar, William Sumner, about Spencer, and so on. For the evolutionary theories, social change is guided by natural laws. Natural laws, which suggest that social change is inevitable. Social change will occur whether we like it or not, with or without human intervention. Social change will occur. So, for instance, if we look at communities, it is inevitable, according to the evolutionary theories, that a society will develop from a simple society to a complex society. A rural society, whether we do anything about it or not, will at a point in future become an urban society. If we look at the Nigerian society in the early 1920s, 1930 onwards, the number of urban locations, urban communities that we had at that point, far smaller, fewer than what we have today. But as the population increases, the society will move from rural community to urban community. So the change is inevitable. People will tell you that Lagos is different from what it was in the 20th century. So change will inevitably come. Populations will increase, the number of houses will increase, and so many other things will change in the society. So these are some of the major theories that we'll discuss for now. Now, let's move on to discuss some key concepts that will come across as we progress with our study of sociology. One major concept we have already discussed is the idea of social order. So let's just take social order as a concept. So what is social order? Social order can be simply used to refer to the situation in which the society is organized for stability, peace, and order. Social order connotes consensus. Shared values and norms. Shared values and norms enhance social order. Social order, as we may note, is often associated with the functionalist theory to explain how different parts of the society work. For the good and well-being of the larger society. Social order entails or emphasizes interconnectedness. The interconnectedness of various parts. So that is social order, a concept that will be coming across from time to time as we move on to describe how the organs of the society work together for the well-being of the society. Another concept that we should note is social institution. This can be simply described as social structures that perform important functions for the society. Organs of the society. And we gave illustrations of social function, institutions earlier on as in the course of our class. We talked about the family, we talked about the government, we talked about religion, we talked about the economy, education, and so on. This can be referred to as social institutions, all of which perform functions for the society. Another important function concept that I want us to discuss before we close for today is social change. Social change refers to the ways in which the society is altered the way the society changes with time. And as we said, while the functionalists emphasize order and stability, the conflict theories emphasize disunity and change. So for the conflict theories, social change is inevitable. Social change is normal. Social change can occur at different pace. Social change can be slow. Social change can be rapid. We can think of the Nigerian society and the changes that have occurred in the society. The factors for change can be noted to include environmental factors, climatic change, economic factors, political factors, demographic factors, and so on. All of these can lead to social change in the society. We can look at various organs of the society, various social institutions to illustrate social change. What changes have occurred within the family institution, for instance? How has the family institution changed over time? What changes can we mention with the family institution? Change from the extended family structure to the nuclear family structure. More emphasis today on the nuclear family. The husband, the wife, and their children even though the extended family still exists. Please, can you mute yourself? Can you mute yourselves, please? What changes have occurred in the traditional society? What changes have occurred in the world? Social change. Talking about social change, what are the impacts of an idea such as globalization? How has globalization impacted on the Nigerian society? How has technology, for instance, led to social change? The way we do things in terms of interaction, communication, and so on. The influence of technology, the mobile phones and mobile devices that we have, for instance, the technology that we use for organizing online classes and so on, and the implications for social life in general. So these are some of the concepts that I want us to discuss. We'll continue with these other various other concepts next week when we meet. If there are questions, I'll be willing to respond to your questions at this point before we close for the day. If there are questions, please, or comments, let's hear you. And then I also want to remind people to write their names in the chat section if you've not done so, so that we know you are here today. If there are no questions, I will at this point wish you. Okay, Tamilore Ajayi, I can see your hand. Tamilore Ajayi. What's your question? What's your comment?
It was a mistake, sir. Sorry, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay. So if there are no questions or comments, I wish you a very good evening.
And you too, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
sir.
Good night. Yes.
Bye-bye, sir. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir.
So Adebimpe Rashidat, can you end the class, please?
Do what?
Can you end the class?
Okay,
Close
sir.
the
Okay,
meeting.
sir.
Because I can't close it from this end. So people should feel free to log out while we wait for Adebimpe Rashidat to close
Sir, I have a question.
meeting. Yes, what's the question?
Sir, can we drop the attendance in the chat box?
Sorry?